Connections Radio presents. This episode of Thinking Into Results is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life. Let's take a look at what Thinking Into Results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was studying Earl Nightingale's material. But a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material. And they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. If you want to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, it's all here. Thinking Into Results is going to show you how to get it. If what I've said really triggered something in your mind and you're thinking maybe, contact the certified PGI consultant, hit the button, leave the information, do yourself a favor, sit down and talk to them about what this program can do for you. This very well could be the decision that will change the rest of your life.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome to Thinking Into Results, sponsored by S&J Mentoring. Today, we've got a great story for you. Faith, a user guide to moving your mountain. I'm Sid Maestri. I'm a certified consultant with Thinking Into Results, and my esteemed partner, trained voice actor, best friend, John Gage. The ball is in your court.
Well, thank you, Sid. It's interesting when we talk about faith moving mountains, because that's one of the things that the Bible talks about. And I know that's something that can sometimes be one of those areas that are gray, but I think just about every religion talks about faith and how faith can move you in the direction you want to go. We have spent a lot of time, I don't know, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now.
Yep.
And when faith is like a backbone of this. Besides desire, faith is probably the next best, the next step. And of course, it's the next step in the book, but it's the next step of faith, because without faith, you can't really accomplish much. As a matter of fact, I've been doing some studying with some other books, and I pulled five sources from that, five things from them. The purpose, and the books that I've been looking at are The Purpose of Driven Life, Produced by Faith, 7 Spiritual Laws, Battlefield of the Mind, and The Circle Maker. These are just the list of books that I've just been kind of looking at. So I kind of composed a so that people understand what we're talking about, what faith does. Um, these are the 5 takeaways that I was able to pull from these books. And the first one is purpose precedes planning. So if you're doing something and there's no purpose to it, it's a hollow victory. And that just means that you're doing it to do it. You're going through the motions. I don't know. We've heard that many times, haven't you, Sid? Heard people say, you're just going through the motions, and what that means is it's hollow. There's nothing to it. Would you agree with that?
You're right on.
So that's one of the takeaways I've got from that. Action is an act of faith. So one of your favorite things to say, what is it? You tell me. What's the first step?
If you don't know, well, I know the first step. Sometimes people know the first step, but first step is writing it down. You write it down, and we've got 5 steps. What happens in writing it down?
Right.
Should I throw those out right now?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the 5 steps, and that's taught by Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. Number 1, what do you want? It could be dollars, it could be a promotion, whatever you want. Number 2 is, when do you want it? Number 3 is, what will you give for it? The product or service that you're going to be selling.
Right.
The 4th step is writing down your plan. And plans change, and you may not have very much in your plan. But as you move towards your goal, the plan expands.
Right.
Number 5 is you've written that out in a nice statement altogether.
Right.
Actually, the 6th step is you're going to read that in front of your mirror in the morning and at night, and you're going to do it with emotion. I like to describe that as with passion and unbridled enthusiasm. And I've been saying that for a number of years, and I'm sharing it, and I cannot say unbridled enthusiasm without smiling. So back to you, John, with that first step. The minimum first step is writing it down.
Right. And I know I mentioned this before, but during Christmas time, we watch a lot of Christmas movies, and one of them is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And the Winter Warlock, when he becomes good, they sing a whole song about taking the first step. And it's called Put One Foot in Front of the Other is the name of the song. And you put one foot in front of the other, you're walking, next thing you know, you're walking across the floor, and then soon you'll be walking out the door. What that means, and this is what faith is knowing that you're going to accomplish it, but not necessarily knowing how that's going to happen. And just taking that first step towards whatever it may be. So, it's just about, it's going to happen, and I need to move to get this done. And so you start. You have to take that first step. If you don't take that first step, you're never going to get anywhere with your goals. You're not going to grow. You're not going to learn. And I know that we talked about growth. If faith is not a substitute for, this is one of the other takeaways, because this was Mark Batterson calls it circling the dream. Faith is not a substitute for hard work. It is the courage to work hard on something that isn't guaranteed you. In other words, you have to have the courage to do things that you've never done before. And I know we talk about that a lot. You have to have you're going to do stuff. You have to have growth. If you're not going to have growth for your goal, don't have a goal. If you don't want to change something about you or accomplish something that you've never accomplished before, and you're not expecting to grow, it's going to be a hollow victory. You're just going to accomplish something. I know that I've said this many times too. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. My kids grew up all the time. We grew up, I can't do that. Well, you're right. I know you probably told your kids the same thing. I'm sure, because I know that you believe the same thing. I mean, didn't you have a challenge once about, what was it, a 5-minute mile or 6-minute mile?
I thought you'd never asked, John.
I think I can do that in a car. I don't know that I could actually run that.
Yeah. No, this goes back, I was in my 30s.
So you had to have faith for this, right?
I'm sorry?
So you had to have faith that you could do this because you didn't think you could, if I remember correctly, because you told me the story a couple of times.
No, actually, I thought I could.
Okay.
This goes back into my 30s. And in some conversation with some guys I played softball with, I came up about running the mile. And I boldly said I could run the 5:29 mile. And of course, somebody put $20 on the table. I said, I bet you can't. And we had a competition about 7 weeks till I had to perform. I'm going to say I believed I could do it. I'm not sure if I had the faith yet, but I had the steps. I wrote out a 3-day cycle. I'd run the mile.
Mm-hmm.
I would run 2 miles in the jog. The third day I would run 4:40s.
Okay.
And each time I ran a mile, I'd knock some off of it. In fact, the first time was 6 minutes and 40 seconds. It took 5 cycles to be able to break 6 minutes. And then every 3 days, I would knock 1 or 2 seconds off. And as I got into that, I knew I could do it. It never even occurred to me that I wouldn't be able to achieve that. But I wouldn't have gotten that point without having a plan and taking action. And just as an aside, just if I can, Bob and Sandy Gallagher, who's Bob's partner, who now owns Procter Gallagher, she would always say, goals without action are just dreams. They're fantasies because you haven't taken action yet. And I have to add, I ran a 5:29 mile. Made it by a second, but I knew I was going to do it. Mm-hmm. But it reminded me of my last comment here, and I'll throw the ball back to you.
Okay.
Don Shula was a football coach for the Miami Dolphins and led them to an undefeated season in 1972. No team has ever gone through the season and won the Super Bowl without losing a game. So getting back to Don Shula, this is his famous quote: "The hardest thing in going after gold is taking the first step." And with that, John, get back to faith.
Absolutely. Well, and that's true. Faith. What was it? Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade. What was the last thing he had to do to get to the Holy Grail?
Yes.
He had to take that step of faith. And he had to step into a canyon that looks like he would fall to his death. But he had to take that step of faith, which is one of the hardest thing to do, is taking that first step of faith. That's just like, I live in this lovely home. This was a scary thing for me. And it's like, in a sense, I was kind of forced into doing it because we had to move. So I had to, go, okay, well, I have to do this. And we have to find a house because we need to move. And at a certain point, it's like, I know we're going to find a house. I just don't know what the house is going to look like, where the house is going to be. There's all kinds of different places we could have lived in this area that would have been lovely to live at. we kind of wanted a very specific part of the house. A pool had to be one of the amenities that we had to have. I'm trying to think of the word. you know, it had to be kind of out of the city a little bit. So we've got literally a ranch that's just over there. We've got a 100 yard. We were just talking. I got 100 yards from the house. I have a pond that we have a bald eagle that has a family nest that lives there. We have 5 or 6 sandhill cranes that come through here on a regular basis. Probably 20 or 30 ducks. Lots of fish. I'm sure there's an alligator in there too. I mean, after all, this is Florida, so if it's wet, chances are there's an alligator there. But we had the faith that we were going to find the house with the amenities we wanted, but because we had that faith, we actually got something superior to that. Does that resonate? Because we put that vibration out there, and I got that vibration so high because every day I was like, okay, this is the house I want. This is what we want. This is what we're looking for. I pictured myself in it every day because we had to move forward. And that it's an amazing feeling because when you start, this is something that's scary, something you've never done before, and you take that first step. It's an amazing feeling to actually accomplish that. I don't think that's something we discuss much. We discuss the journey, but I don't think this just dawned on me. So I'm kind of changing it a little bit, but the facts are, it's an amazing feeling to accomplish something that you've never done before and do all of these things and go through all of these trials and all of these little heartaches and these little we call them fear barriers, because you're going to go through that. If you're going after a true C goal, you're going to go through a fear barrier. You're going to come up to these things where you're going to go, oh my God, can I do that? And I don't know how many times I ran into that with this house. And here I am. I'm in the house. I'm happy. My wife is happy. Probably the best part is my wife is happy. At least for me. And, I can sit outside in the morning and have coffee. I can smoke a cigar in the evening and have a nice adult beverage and just watch the pond and just kind of enjoy life a little bit in my older age, which I won't talk about how old I am. I will say I'm younger than Sid, but I'm older than most. And, but it is something that is really nice because this is a growth journey as well. And when you get there and you realized that's the road I went through, I really went through that road to get here. Okay, it was worth it. That road may have been bumpy. That road may have had a few canyons in it that you fell into, right? When you do anything that's worth doing, you're going to run into bumpy roads. You're going to run into those canyons, and you're going to look back and you're going to go, it was worth it. I say that every morning when I get up and I see that pond out there and I see the fog hanging over it about 3 feet above it. You can see the ducks swim into this fog. It's just an amazing thing. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's something I didn't initially expect, because we've talked about eventually you start expecting. When you have faith, you start expecting this is going to happen. It's just going to happen no matter what. Would you agree with that, Sid?
Yes, very much so. You said a couple things that I want to kind of add on to.
Go right ahead.
One of the you could have said it earlier today, but we've talked about this. You can't achieve beyond what you can see. You can't achieve beyond what you can see, how you see yourself.
Right.
And you have to be able to see yourself in that goal or having what you want. But you said something else that I want to finish. You mentioned the C goal, because that's a C goal, something we talk about a lot. And Bob Proctor teaches there's three kinds of goals. An A, B, C. An A goal is one you know you can do because you've done it. You know you can do it. A B goal is one that you want to do, and you put a team together. You got resources. You got a plan, and life happens. John talks about canyons, whether they're hurdles, challenges, but you can easily get discouraged and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And the C goal is, I like to use the expression, John, I call it the C goal is the big enchilada. That's like a purpose. That's something that's very important. Often you thought about it for a number of years. Until you're on one of our podcasts and learn about the C goal and how putting a plan together. And that's first step is the statement. And the beauty of the C goal is it's really a journey of who you become. It's a journey of growth. And there's a lot of lessons along the way. And things don't always turn out the way you thought they were, but you kept going. So the C goal is who you become. And then here's the beautiful thing. Once you've achieved a C goal and you've grown, you're now open to do something bigger and better than the C goal, because you have the confidence you've done something that you've never done before, and now you're ready to tackle something else. So those are my thoughts. As you were talking, reminding me of these different things about faith. Oh, you said something else that the way I express it just a little bit differently. There's something that you want. And since you know this process is that we're teaching, you have faith you can get it. And you're just riding on faith with the repetition of reading your goal out loud twice a day in front of the mirror, or more often. I like to say record it. You can listen to what you're saying. But faith leads into knowing. By running the mile under the 5:30 mile, as I moved through that process of training, and once I broke 6 into the 5s, I knew I could do it. And then, as I said, the last Sunday before the event, which was on a Saturday, I expected to do it. I had faith I could do it. I'd gone to that where I knew I could do it. Now I'm had 6 days. I get to do it, and I expected to do it. And matter of fact, my friend Jim that had made the bet with me, he had a stopwatch, and when the race started, and as I'm coming down like the last 50 yards, and I heard him say, "I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it." And that's. I'm looking at.
Well,
can I quickly tell Napoleon Hill's story?
sure. Okay, go ahead.
The Think and Grow Rich comes from a book that Napoleon Hill wrote that came out of a meeting with Andrew Carnegie, who was the wealthiest man in the world back in the early 1900s. And Napoleon Hill was given the job to interview him for this paper he was working for. And he heard Andrew Carnegie's success story. And he felt that he knew how he had success, but all these other people in the world that were successful, no one knew how they did it. So he's going to have Napoleon Hill interview them. He would introduce them to 500 people, and it'd take him 20 years to do it, and he'd have to support himself. And Napoleon Hill answered, "Yes, I'll do it," in 29 seconds. I got a CD of him telling this story, and he had a minute. but he didn't know Andrew Carnegie had a
Yeah,
clock.
he didn't know it was, yeah.
And so finish this, because I always talk too much, but I want to leave the grounds for this. Andrew Carnegie said, I gave him a pencil, paper. I want you to write this down. Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to match your achievements in life, I'm going to challenge you at the post, pass you at the grandstand. And Napoleon Hill says he threw his pencil down. He says, I don't believe that. And Andrew Carnegie says, I know you don't believe it. But will you read it twice a day in front of the mirror for 30 days? And the first, nothing was happening. Until about 2 weeks, there's a little glimmer of light. After 3 weeks, the light was pretty big. After 30 days, he knew he could do it.
Right.
30 days, he could picture himself do it, and he knew he could do it. He had faith he could do it because he'd gone through those steps. Now it was time to take action, but he knew what action it would be.
Exactly.
Go back to you, John.
And see, but that's how you move your mountain, because once you accomplish a C goal, you realize that you can accomplish more, and you realize you can accomplish more, and you realize you can accomplish. That's why we have a man now that is almost a trillionaire, which is a lot of money. I don't know if do you know how much money $1 billion is?
Well, I only know it has a lot.
If you stack 20s on top of each other, $1 billion would be taller than the Empire State Building. If you stack 20s on top of each other, $1 trillion is 1 billion billion. That's a lot of money that this guy has earned. And it's all because he's figured out how to conquer his mountain, how to move his mountain so that he can. And the more you accomplish, the more you grow, the more you learn to say no. This is one of the things that a lot of people, this is something I had to really, that has been really hard for me to learn, is saying no. You have to be able to say no to even some of the good things, because there's something better coming around the corner, and you have to go, no, I'll wait. It's called delayed satisfaction. And most of us don't know what that is anymore. We can go and we can drive 2 minutes and get a full meal in our car for $20. And consume a full meal in 5 minutes from the house for $20. Instant satisfaction. We're used to that. We need to get away from that and start going back to delayed satisfaction. Essentially, that's what this is: being able to say no, being able to go, I grew so much doing that. Now, what else can I do to grow more? That's why faith is your user guide to moving your mountain. It's your ability to grow, change, and then grow more and accomplish more. I mean, and it doesn't matter when you start. Colonel Sanders was in his 70s when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I rest my case as far as that goes. It looks like time is getting close to the end. I'm sorry that we ran so close, everybody. I just want to thank you for the time, for sharing your time with us. Please like and share. It really helps. The algorithm helps this grow. And come see us at sj-mentoring.com. sj-mentoring.com. Fill out the form for contact. And as Bob had said, and Sid's actually said, we can show you how to accomplish this C goal and start moving your mountains. But you need to fill out the form so we can have this conversation about your unique needs and your unique goals. So thank you for tuning in. Come visit us at sjmentoring.com. And we look forward to seeing you. We're doing some changes. So there's going to be a few weeks of flashback episodes, but we'll be bringing some new episodes to you here shortly. So thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, John.
My
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.